तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमो महवदनाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामनि गौरात्वेषे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Dear devotees, you are welcome for continuity of our Bhakti Shastri study of Nectar of Devotion. We are in introduction and discussing the third section of the introduction, which is the definition of Uttama Bhakti or pure devotional service. So this is the verse everybody has to memorize. Anyabhilashita sunyam jnana karmadhyanavrtam anukulyena krishnano shilanam bhaktir uttama. How many of you fortunate soul by now are ready to recite this verse? Yes.
Can I recite, Prabhu?
Yes.
Anya vila sita shunyam jnana karma dhyana vratam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhakti uttama.
Somebody else?
Anya vila sita shunyam jnana karma dhyana vratam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhakti uttama.
So, this definition of bhakti is by Srila Rupa Goswami himself, and it has two characteristics. One is primary, and that is Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam, and the secondary characteristic are two, Anyabhilashita Sunyam and Gyan Karmadi Anavartam. Now we have discussed last time primary characteristic Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. So we have only discussed Anushilanam. We are still discussing Anushilanam. So Anushilanam here means, Anu means continuously, repeatedly following after. And Shilanam means to practice, to serve, to worship, to meditate. And if you remember, we have these two meaning of Anushilanam or Shilanam. The Cheshta Rupa and Bhav Rupa. The Cheshta Rupa is Sadhan Bhakti, Bhav Rupa is Bhav Bhakti or Prema Bhakti. Now this is the Shilanam or Anushilanam has to be performed by the three items, with the body, with mind and with words. And that action also will be positive and negative, which means pravarti and nivarti. Now we have discussed the culture of mind, how to do Anushilanam with mind. Think of Krishna's pastime in Kurukshetra and Vrindavan. Then we have also discussed the Anushilanam with words by doing Kirtan or describing Krishna's name, pastimes, form and etc. Now we are reading in our book doing Anushilanam with body. So you open this page, say 22 in a Roman. Similarly, can you find this paragraph similarly? Everybody found this paragraph similarly?
Yes, Prabhu.
Similarly, we can offer many services with our bodily activities. But all such activities must be in a relationship with Krishna. Now, this relationship is established by connecting oneself with bona fide spiritual master, who is the direct representative of Krishna in a disciplic succession. Therefore, the execution of Krishna conscious activities, which means Anushilanam, with body should be directed by spiritual master and then performed with faith. Two things. First, we must establish relationship with Krishna, and that through the spiritual medium of spiritual master. Then we should perform activities under his direction and then with full faith. So there are four things by now. The connection with the spiritual master is called initiation. From the date of initiation by spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and the person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed. So this is the Anushilanam with body. So now you can make in your own small note Anushilanam with mind, how we perform Anushilanam with body and Anushilanam with words. So is it clear to everybody? Now we are discussing this subject matter. Can you see on the screen? Krishna Anushilanam refer to activities under the spiritual energy of the Lord. This is the subject matter of the next paragraph. So the paragraph which we are going to read now is describing the activities of Krishna consciousness, or Krishna Anushilanam, is under the direction of, under the complete jurisdiction of spiritual energy of the Lord. Now, Srila Prabhupada writes, this cultivation of Krishna consciousness, which means Anushilanam, Krishna Anushilanam, is not material. Now Srila Prabhupada is giving a sort of preface that there are three energies of the Lord: the external energy, which is for material world; internal energy, which is for the spiritual world; and then we living entities are marginal energies. Now Srila Prabhupada writes, the living entities who are called marginal energies perform material activities when acting under the inferior external energy, and when they engage in activities under the internal energy with activities, and their activities are called Krishna consciousness. This means that those who are great souls or great devotees do not act under the spell of material energy, but act instead under the perfection of spiritual energy. Any activities done in devotional service or Krishna consciousness are directly under the control of spiritual energy. So what I read one line is some verse from Bhagavad Gita is coming in your mind. This means that those who are great souls or the great devotees do not work under material energy but work under spiritual energy. Some Bhagavad Gita verse, anybody remember? Then it is material energy. Not exactly. Mahatma nastumam parat devim prakritim ashrita. Devim prakriti means internal energy. Mahatmanas, because the Prabhupada has used the word Mahatma, great soul, Mahatma. So this is the verse in Prabhupada's mind when he's writing this line. Is it right? Now Srila Prabhupada is saying this energy, in other words, energy is sort of its strength. And the strength can be spiritualized by the mercy of both the bona fide Master and Krishna. Now Srila Prabhupada is quoting a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Brahmanda Brahmite koi bhagivana jiva Guru Krishna prasade paye bhakti lata bij. So this is the verse Srila Prabhupada has quoted here. One who is serious about his spiritual life is given by Krishna the intelligence to come in contact with bona fide spiritual master, and then by the grace of spiritual master one becomes advanced in Krishna consciousness. In this way, the whole jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness is directly under the spiritual energy. What is that spiritual energy? Krishna and spiritual master. This has nothing to do with the material world. Here this topic ends. Now the topic is starting, what is Krishna. So see now our slide, why the activities of Krishna Anushilana are under spiritual energy. Why so? Because they are always in connection with Krishna and are under the direction of bona fide spiritual master. It refers to service that is pleasing to Krishna. So this is the meaning of all activities of Krishna consciousness are under the jurisdiction of. Now in our book we are going to the definition of Krishna. When we speak of Krishna, continue reading your book. We refer to Supreme Personality of Godhead along with his many expansions. He is expanded by his plenary parts and parcels, his differentiated part and parcels, and his different energies. Krishna, in other words, means everything and includes everything. But generally, however, we should understand Krishna to mean Krishna and his personal expansions, which means Vishnu Tattva. Krishna extends himself as Balaram, Sankrishna, Vasudeva, Anuruddha, Pradyumna, Chaturvyuh. Innumerable Vishnu expansions, which means Vishnu Tattva. Krishna expands, okay. Narsingha, Varaha, these are the names, Ram. And as well as many other incarnation and innumerable Vishnu expansion. They are described in Srimad Bhagavatam to be as numerous as uncountable waves. Where is this in Bhagavatam? Ete chansha kalaha punsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Soyam Indrari Vyak. Before this verse, Vyasdev says Krishna has innumerable incarnations like the waves in the ocean, but among them Krishna is the Swayam Bhagavan. So Krishna includes all his expansion as well as his pure devotees. In the Brahma Samhita it is stated that Krishna's expansion are all complete in entity, blissful and cognizant. So we have this list given in a chart here for you. Krishna includes Krishna, Krishna's expansions, Guru, Krishna's other pure devotees and all things connected to Krishna. Now almost we have to some extent covered the primary characteristic of definition. Is it okay? There's a one word still left in the primary definition. And what is that word? We have completed Anushilanam, Krishna Anushilanam. And what is the left word left? Anukulyena. And now we are discussing Anukulyena. Anukulyena. We are reading our book. Devotional service means to prosecute Krishna conscious activities which are favorable to transcendental pleasure of Supreme Lord Krishna. And any activities which are not favorable to the transcendental favor of Lord cannot be accepted as devotional service. For example, Hiranyakashipu, Kansha, they were always thinking of Krishna but not favorably, so this is not bhakti. Now here in a slide you see Anukulyena means favorably done. This means that the service should be done with an attitude to please Krishna. If an activity was pleasing to Krishna but was not intended to do so, is not bhakti. Can somebody explain what it means?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandatanam.
Yes.
Maybe could be when someone is doing some devotional, some activity, we can call devotional service, but there is some personal benefit, like become like very prominent, very important, or getting some profit, some percentage, collecting funds, something like that.
I think the point I am asking, if an activity was pleasing to Krishna but was not intended to do so, is not bhakti.
Like Krishna likes to fight the demons, but the demons are not doing it with the intention of pleasing Krishna. They are doing it for hurting Krishna or killing Krishna.
Yes, so this is the actual meaning, that Krishna is pleased by chivalry mellow, but the intention of the demon is not to please Krishna, therefore it is not bhakti. Now, based on this favorable or anukulyena, this definition, does this word, do we need this word actually? Anushilanam itself is enough, then why there is a need of anukulyena? Srila Jiva Goswami has raised some questions. He said, well, this should be like that. Anushilanam means anukulyena. What is the need of anukulyena? If we say feed the warrior, so there is no need to say feed the warrior who has weapon in hand, because weapon is when warrior are together connected. So Anushilanam is enough. Then he raised the question to counteract that. When we say feed the warrior, that only warrior need to be fed, not the weapon. So this is very precise definition. There is not too wide and not too narrow. Too wide means if you say Anushilanam, then Kansa, Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, because they were pleasing to Krishna, they will be counted as devotees. So it is not too wide, but it's not too narrow either. Activity of Yashoda was not pleasing to Krishna when she left Krishna during Damodar Leela and went to take care of the spilling boiling milk. It was not pleasing to Krishna. But Yashoda's intention was to serve something which is pleasing to Krishna. So, intention was to please Krishna, though Krishna was not pleased. So, Yashoda is the greatest Vatsalya Mai devotee of Krishna. We cannot exclude Yashoda from the devotional service. So, the word Anukulyena keep the definition not too wide, not too narrow. Too wide, without Anukulyena, Krishna, Kans and other can be also included in devotional activity. And too narrow, Krishna was not pleased, but still Yashoda is the greatest devotee. It is not too narrow. So both things are important. Is it clear now? Anybody has a question?
So what about when someone offers to Krishna put stuff that is not approved according to our standard? There is a desire to offering something to Krishna, but
Giriraj Maharaj was discussing this subject matter. When Giriraj Maharaj was discussing this subject, he said, one devotee said, I am very dear devotee of Krishna, and I offer everything to Krishna. Then he opened his chewing betel nut, small, nice container, and then he said, I put tulsi even on this betel nut and then offer to Krishna. So then Maharaj said, this is not actually Uttama Bhakti. You have to give to Krishna what is pleasing to Krishna. It's not that which you like. So Anukulyena is important. This is most important thing which we have discussed now. Now Srila Prabhupada has used this word warrior and weapon, which Srila Jiva Goswami has used in context to Anukulyena. But Srila Prabhupada has used the same analogy for some other purpose. That which we are going to now read. This is the paragraph. Impersonalists sometimes misunderstand devotional service in such a way that they divide the Krishna with his paraphernalia. Then Srila Prabhupada gives the example that Krishna and Kurukshetra, they are connected. We have no interest in Kurukshetra as a war field, but because it's connected with Krishna, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita there. Therefore, that battlefield is also as important to us as Krishna. And then Srila Prabhupada used this example that when we say warrior, you also include the weapon. When you say Krishna, it also includes all the paraphernalia connected with Krishna. And the Siddhanta or the principle for this explanation is Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. Nirbandha, I have no relationship but Krishna Sambandhe. Since it is connected with Krishna, so I have a relationship. So this paragraph you read, and this is the meaning of this paragraph. Srila Prabhupada has used this analogy of the warrior and weapon with the Krishna and his paraphernalia. By now, in one sense, our primary definition of the Uttama Bhakti is over. We have discussed Krishna Anukulyena, Krishna Anushilanam. So we have discussed all this. Is it okay? For a while, I would like to just do a little more.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, that means that as per your explanation in the book, although we offer or we do everything with love and intention to please Krishna. But if it is not the things or some food or any other thing that is not pleasing to Krishna by his standard, so it is not good, right?
No, our intention should be to please Krishna.
Yes.
And it should be under the direction of a spiritual master. The Krishna is pleased when a spiritual master is pleased by our activity.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Alright. So according to our this slide, we have the next secondary characteristic of this definition.
Prabhuji, I have one doubt, Prabhuji. That example of Duryodhana calling Krishna for Chappan Bhoga, does that come, his intention was to have a diplomatic relationship? Does that come in this example?
Krishna was not pleased by that. He did not oblige to Krishna's advice, therefore he is not a devotee. Duryodhana is not a devotee according to this definition of Uttama Bhakti.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Now, can we continue with the secondary characteristics? Secondary characteristics are two. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karma adi anavartam. Now, anya abhilashita shunyam. Shunyam means zero, nothing, completely. Absence of something completely is called shunya. Shunya means zero. But Gyan Karmadi Anavartam, uncovered by Gyan and Karma. It is not Shunyam here. So first you see the difference between the two. Now the word, meaning of the word Anya, Abhilashita and Shunyam, there are three words. And there are four words: Gyan, Karma, Adi, Anavartam. So the next slide will say, why do we need the secondary characteristic for the Uttama Bhakti?
Can you put the previous slide back? I need to.
What is the question? Anuradha, you are speaking something? No sound.
Yeah. Can you put the previous slide back? I just missed that secondary characteristic.
Can somebody paraphrase what she said, because the sound is not very clear.
No, Prabhuji, she is asking to put the previous slide back. She hasn't, I think, read or written something from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karam adi anavartam. You have all these slides already sent to you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
No? Anuradha?
No, Prabhuji, I'm not seen it.
I have.
Everybody got it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Is it okay, Anuradha? We can go continue further?
Yeah.
Now this is a question. Why do we need secondary characteristic? These secondary characteristics serve to distinguish pure devotional service from ordinary devotional service. They define the concept of word Uttama. Ordinary devotional service is the activity intended to please Krishna. Additionally, pure devotional service has these two characteristics. Freedom from ulterior motives. Freedom means shunya. Ulterior motive means abhilashita, anya abhilashita. Uncovered means anavartam. by philosophical or fruitive pursuit. Philosophical means gyan, fruitive means karma. But there is no adi here. So now we are just discussing a little bit about Abhilasha versus Abhilashita. Abhilasha means desire. Abhilashita means nature of the desire. So the word is Anya Abhilasha, Anya Abhilashita. The word in the verse is Abhilashita, not Abhilasha. So we can have desire, but we cannot have a different nature of the desire. We can have a desire. So what is actually Abhilasha? Sudden temporary desires which may arise beyond a devotee's control in dangerous situation are not harmful to one's bhakti. Such desires are not in keeping with the true devotional nature of the devotees. They arise in the extraordinary circumstances pertaining to self-preservation and therefore do not exclude one from pure devotional service. What is excluded from pure devotional service is the nature of seeking fulfillment of material desire. So you have this meaning of the Abhilasha, which is not contrary to the bhakti. But Abhilashita is contrary to the bhakti. Now I am giving one example. It's a funny example. Then we will see the another example. A devotee, a foreigner devotee came in Vrindavan. He had a big feast, and then he went to the Loi Bazar for doing some shopping, but he got a stomach upset. So he has an urgency to use the toilet. So he is praising Krishna, Krishna, please save me till I reach to the room. So this desire is not against bhakti. He is praying to Krishna not for any material thing. So it's not against bhakti. Such a emergency, desire and emergency for all of sudden, without any planned thing, they are not against bhakti. So Abhilasha is not against bhakti, Abhilashita is against bhakti. Because Abhilashita means desire to get some material benefit, and that is regular and reoccurring and frequent. That should not be there. Now there is one example given by the devotees about this is so Krishna, I am just showing you a second set and then we will reach to that. Krishna include Krishna or person related to Krishna either in Cheshta Rupa and Bhav Rupa. Krishna Anushilanam. Krishna Anushilanam means Krishna include Krishna or person related to Krishna either in Cheshta Rupa, because Cheshta Rupa is meaning of Anushilanam, or Bhav Rupa. Because it involves person related to Krishna also, it is not real. This is how it is under the spiritual energy, material body and mind. Krishna conscious activities are directly under the control of internal energy. How to perform Krishna Anushilanam? By surrendering unto the bona fide Guru. Isn't Narsinga Anushilanam or Ram Anushilanam not bhakti? It is bhakti. Yes, Krishna and Ram are included in word Krishna. Why only Krishna Anushilanam?